Kazakhstan has chosen the multi-vector integration. Its trends, collisions, and prospects are coming up in the single market program.
Today in the program, Turkish investment format. Light and shadow of the black gold market. Technical regulations of EAEU, new nuances. Export potential of Kyrgyzstan. Hello, I'm Yerkebulan Bekmuhanbet. It is single market program. Trade turnover between Turkey and Kazakhstan grew by more than 34% in 2017. In monetary terms, the total volume was about $2 billion, wherein Kazakhstan exports more than imports. Export from the Republic is mainly represented by products of the commodity sector. Kazakhstan delivers copper, zinc, aluminum, oil, gas, as well as wheat, lentils, and flax to the Turkish market. We import from Turkey mostly finished goods such as metalware, agricultural machinery, furniture, carpets, clothes, and shoes. What trends are currently observed in trade and economic relations between Kazakhstan and Turkey? To get an answer to this question, I immersed into an atmosphere that allowed me to evaluate the present and formulate goals for the future.
Погрузился в атмосферу, которая позволяет оценить настоящее и сформулировать цели на будущее.
Today, both states plan to bring the volume of mutual trade to $10 billion in the long term. To achieve this goal, the business communities of Kazakhstan and Turkey stepped up their business meetings with each other. One of such meetings was held this spring in Almaty. B2B meetings will be held with the representatives of machine building and construction industry. About 80 people will participate today in the meetings. We have explained all kinds of state support that are provided to foreign investors. The entrepreneurs from the Association of Businessmen of Turkey, Musiaid, showed great interest in the Kazakh market. This community unites 7,500 companies in Turkey. Together they provide more than 12% of the GDP of their country. The largest branch of the organization is concentrated in the city of Konya, which is considered to be an important industrial center of Turkey.
1990 yılında kurulmuştur.
Our chamber has 86 branches throughout Turkey and 70 offices around the world. The branch in Konya includes more than 190 participants.
Ülkede 190'a yakın irtibat noktası vardır.
The range of interest of Turkish businessmen in Kazakhstan is quite wide. These are such spheres as construction, metallurgy, automobile industry, production of jewelry, electronics, computers, furniture, and household appliances. For example, the AKO company, which operates in the machine building sector, is engaged in the production of tools.
Hocam biraz araştırdık.
We have supplied our products here so far, but the volumes were small, not more than $10,000. Now we want to find partners here and increase sales by 10 to 20 times.
Satıyoruz. Bunları daha fazla arttırmanın yolunu aramak için buraya geldik. Daha fazla müşteri bulmak için buraya geldik.
Another promising niche for cooperation between Kazakh and Turkish businessmen is in the field of smart technology. Considering Kazakhstan's plans to introduce smart systems, some Turkish companies are ready to cooperate with the municipal services of our republic. The sector is quite developed in Europe, but the Central Asian market is just beginning to emerge. Being one of the leading companies in the smart electronics sector, we think that our experience will be very useful for the Kazakh side, and we are looking forward to a close partnership.
Referansımız var. İstanbul'da, Antalya'da birçok bölgesinde referansımız var.
Today in Kazakhstan, there are more than 2,000 companies with the participation of Turkish capital. Among them, there are such big enterprises as Aselsan, producing military optics, the carpet factory, Baltic Steel, and the plant which produces tiles.
Together in Turkey, 20 personnel.
20 specialists came here from Turkey. Within 5 months, they prepared the enterprise for the start. They control the work of all electric and mechanical equipment.
Control the all machinery. Electrical, mechanical.
Potential Turkish investors are ready to invest their money in new projects.
Они видят Казахстан как некий хаб, через который можно будет...
They see Kazakhstan as a kind of hub through which they can export their goods to the countries of Central Asia or China. We are primarily interested in investors who want to invest here, who want to localize their production and focus on foreign markets. That is, we should focus on export production.
Мы должны ориентироваться на экспортные производства.
In other words, the priorities of both sides coincide, and this intersection of interests creates prerequisites for the development of business ties between the states.
Очень много общего между нашими народами. Я думаю, корни общие.
There is a lot in common between our nations, I think. The mentality and values are very similar. And in my opinion, in business, there are certain common principles, methods, and strategies.
По-моему, в бизнесе придерживаются определенных общих каких-то и принципов, и методов, и стратегий.
Last year, the Kazakh-Turkish Intergovernmental Commission for Trade and Economic Cooperation agreed on a joint program, New Synergy. It included 26 investment projects totaling $1 billion. And this perspective promises to give Kazakhstan and Turkey a new impulse for trade and economic cooperation.
Whatever
long-term forecasts are foreseeing the future of oil, the world still depends on the collisions associated with black gold. By the way, some experts are even afraid that in the long term, because of a decline in investments in the profile market, there may be a shortage of offers, and this will be an impetus for the growth of quotations. Very soon, OPEC will announce its verdict on the agreement, and we'll have a more complete picture of the industry development scenario. And for now, we will analyze the current situation. Our observer, Alexander Galiev, will report on it.
нашему обозревателю Александру Галиеву.
To begin with, let me remind you that the oil went off last October when it got out of the price range, which limited its movement upwards. By early 2018, the price of Brent crude oil reached $67 per barrel. Later, it adjusted and then continued its growth. And judging by the trends, the attitude of the market is quite positive. Let's figure out what factors influence the well-being of the black gold market. The first factor, the efforts of OPEC and countries that have voluntarily joined the cartel solution have worked. The surplus in the oil market has been overcome. By the way, OPEC defines the most realistic price of $75. However, if a decision is made to increase oil production, this step will lead to the collapse of prices. Therefore, some experts believe that OPEC will choose a wait-and-see attitude. Meanwhile, President Trump attacked with criticism the cartel's actions. He accused the Organization of Oil Exporters of artificially inflating prices. The second factor is shale oil. It seems that these swings will never stop swinging. There are a lot of uncertainties. On the one hand, the producers of oil shale in the U.S. have finally relaxed. The extraction has become profitable, and the overcredited sector began to show the signs of financial recovery. The sums are astronomical. For example, according to Dealogic, in 2008 to 2017, companies engaged in exploration and production of oil in shale fields attracted a total of $293 billion through the release of bonds. Statistics show that the number of drilling at the shale deposits in the United States has reached 820 units. On the other hand, there is information that some operators have reduced the projected output in the Permian Basin. Just in case, let me clarify that this oil and gas basin is not located in Russia, but in western Texas. Experts say that in the near future, operators in this region will face rising costs, and this will affect the profit margin. And instead of a resume, oil scenarios that were used a couple of years ago today are no longer relevant. OPEC managed to stabilize the situation in the market. But let's not hoodoo. That's all for today. Alexander Galiev has reported.
На этом у меня все. С вами был Александр Галиев.
В одном из выпусков нашей программы мы
In one of our programs, we talked about the fact that the Eurasian Economic Commission was introducing some adjustments to technical regulations that were common for all countries of the Integration Union. Their main motivation is observance of norms and rules in order to meet the requirements of quality and safety. Our Moscow correspondent Laura Jusubekova will tell us about some new changes.
расскажет наш собственный корреспондент в Москве Лаура Жусупбекова.
To begin with, we'll remind you what the concept of technical regulations includes. This is a normative legal document that establishes mandatory requirements for objects of technical regulation in a certain territory of the country, region, and integration union. In this case, we mean the territory of the Eurasian Economic Union. So, in April, the technical regulation on the safety of attractions came into force in the territory of the EAEU for the first time. Their classification in the list of mandatory compliance with requirements is drawn up considering the degree of potential biomechanical risk for human life and health. The new document prescribes clear rules that all participants should perform in the process of production, installation, and operation of attractions. These requirements are applied to new attractions, both newly manufactured and newly installed. But there is a clause that it is possible to establish similar requirements for the attractions that are already in operation at the level of national legislation. In order to ensure that all participants in the core market are able to prepare for the innovations, a transitional period is envisaged until October 18, 2019. Since the technical regulation prescribes that responsibility for the safe operation of attractions is borne not only by their owners and tenants, but also by those who design them. Attractions, wherever they are installed, not only have to be properly operated, but they need to be completely designed. That is, the manufacturer of an attraction is also responsible for its safe functioning.
Распространяется степень ответственности за его безопасное функционирование.
Another important issue in the field of technical regulations of the Eurasian Economic Union concerns such products of everyday demand as dairy. On July 16th, the updated technical regulation entitled On the Safety of Milk and Dairy Products comes into force. The amendments relate to the classification of milk products. They prescribe that the manufacturer is obliged to indicate in the name of the product whether it contains a substitute for milk fat. Because coming to the store and seeing a wide range of dairy products on the counter, we cannot always get into the composition in order to understand what are the ingredients of these products. The amendment implies informing the consumer that a milk fat substitute has been added to a milk-containing product. This information will help to put an end to the question of what is a dairy, cheese, sour cream, or curd product.
Если ранее молокосодержащие продукты, они у нас могли иметь в своем названии.
If earlier, milk products could have in their name either the term milk or the phrase cheese product, sour cream product, or curd product. Now the changes assume that there will not be such names.
То теперь изменения предполагают, что таких наименований быть не должно.
The name of the product containing a substitute should begin with the words milk-containing product with a substitute for milk fat. The inscription, contains vegetable oils, is entered in the information field, which must be specially marked with a contrast font on the package or label.
Для того, чтобы выделить данные продукты, скажем так, на потребительской полке, чтобы потребитель видел, что это...
In order to highlight these products on the consumer shelf, in order the consumer could see that this is not cottage cheese but a milk-containing product with a substitute for milk fat, produced by the technology of cottage cheese. It is very important because the chemical composition of the product changes. That is, we get vegetable fats instead of milk fat. So, by this change, we draw the consumer's attention to the kind of product that he buys.
Мы привлекаем внимание потребителя к виду того продукта, который он покупает.
To adapt the manufacturers of dairy products to new requirements, a transitional period is envisaged. It will last until January 16, 2019, that is exactly 6 months. The experts of the Eurasian Economic Commission believe that the updated technical regulation will help reduce the share of falsified products and at the same time will create favorable conditions for conscientious producers. Laura Zhusupekova, Artak Yevadnyan, from Moscow, especially for Single Market.
Евразийский экономический союз. 5 стран.
The Eurasian Economic Union is 5 member countries, 5 partners in trade and economic cooperation, which is now regulated by a single customs code. And this set of common rules opens up new opportunities for each country to increase its export potential. Our Bishkek correspondent, Gulmira Medet, will continue the topic.
Продолжит наш корреспондент в Бишкеке Гульмира Медет.
2017 was the year that turned out to be very successful in terms of exports for Kyrgyzstan. Positive dynamics was observed in external supplies in 2 directions, to countries that do not belong to the integration partners. Here the growth was 8.6%, in the markets of the states of the Eurasian Economic Union, where the increase in exports was registered at 25.7%. In addition, there was growth in the mutual trade of Kyrgyzstan with its partners in the Union. Last year, the volume in monetary terms exceeded $2 billion. This is 14.3% more than in 2016. The best trade partners of Kyrgyzstan are Russia, an increase of 59.4%, and Kazakhstan, 36.6%. The Republic delivers to Russia fresh vegetables, dried fruits, clothes, to Kazakhstan glass, ore, precious metal concentrates, household electric heaters, plastic containers, clothes and food. As this nomenclature shows, Kyrgyzstan supplies the EAEU markets not only with raw materials, but also with finished products. For example, dairy products. This specialization of the export market is explained by the good development of the dairy industry. Just within last year, over 100 dairy farms were opened in the Republic. The increase in the volume of raw materials created the prerequisites for a more complete utilization of processing facilities. We have more than 40 large-scale processing plants. We worked earlier, we are willing to work. This willingness is motivated by state support. On the one hand, the enterprises that produce and process agricultural raw materials receive soft loans. On the other hand, in case the volume of export exceeds import, the profile production can rely on netting off the value-added tax. Therefore, entrepreneurs have an incentive to increase supplies to the foreign market. I'm glad that 7 projects in 7 regions of the country are working for export. There are also no problems with the transition of our goods through borders. This is one of the largest processing plants in Kyrgyzstan. They produce natural milk without preservatives, yogurt, butter, ice cream here. A significant share of these products is intended for the export market.
Ал сүттердің бардығы текшеруден өтөт. Егер көрсөткүчтөрү туура келбей калса.
The export component has increased. Our products are exported to partner markets. Hence, it meets all the requirements that are prescribed in technical regulations. We can see the results.
Жардамы менен утилизацияга кетет. Ал эми жакшы сүттердин бардығы продукция жасалат.
The Republic's light industry has a high export potential too. Last year, Kyrgyzstan delivered garments worth $140 million to the markets of the Eurasian Economic Union. 80% of export of these goods is in Russia and Kazakhstan.
Негизи башынан эле аялдардын женский кийимдерди тигебиз.
We make women's clothes. These are coats, chapans, and jackets. It was difficult in the beginning, but now everything is adjusted. We work only to order. Our clients address us themselves. We mainly export to Russia. Sometimes we get orders from Kazakhstan. There are no problems with the sale of the goods. We produce clothes. Every year we come up with new models and designs of clothes.
Бир нече жылдар өткөндөн кийин өндүрүлгөн продукцияларыбызды Россияга жөнөтө баштадык. Россиянын крупный шаарларына, оптовый шаарларына эгерде тагыраак айта кетсек.
2018 is also promising for Kyrgyzstan in terms of growth of export to the countries of the EAEU. First of all, to the market of neighboring Kazakhstan, with which last year the Republic had some collision in the trade sector. But this problem was solved before the beginning of 2018. So Kyrgyzstan today expects that the supply of its products to Kazakhstan will increase. By the way, last year the register of the Eurasian Economic Union included 28 enterprises from Kyrgyzstan. This year their number increased to 43, and they've already received permission from Kazakhstan to export their products to the neighboring market under the guarantee of the authorized body. Gulmira Medet from Bishkek, especially for single market. That is all for today. Let me remind you that all our programs can be watched at www.kazakh-tv.kz. See you soon in the Single Market Program.